Tonight's homily will be a heavy one. It will contain of theological and philosophical terms. I hope you're ready to hear me and you will not fall asleep, okay? First word is the word munificentissimus Deus. That's how to explain the dogma of the Assumption of Mary. Can you say that? Munificentissimus. See? Munificentissimus, munificent. It's from the Latin word munificentissimus, meaning bountiful, gracious, magnanimous. And of course, Deus is God. So today's celebration is actually the celebration of the magnanimity, the graciousness, the bountiful love of God to us sinners. And He used Mary to display that greatness of His. Munificentissimus as a dogma revealed by God. And so Mary, the Immaculate Perpetually Virgin, Mother of God, after the completion of her earthly life, was assumed, body and soul, into the glory of heaven. It was the apostolic constitution of Pope Pius XII, November 1st, 1950. So, you don't need to understand all these things. It's just that logic will say, just because God is so gracious, He can do a lot of things. For us, actually it is for us. By the yes of Mary. And so this is the basis of this dogma of the Assumption of Mary. First, Mary is Immaculate Conception. She was conceived immaculately without original sin. So she did not incur the effect of the original sin of decay. So that's why she said it was a debate. She really died or she just slept, no? But that's not the case anymore. I mean, it's irrelevant because what we are saying here is she was assumed, body and soul, in heaven. It gives us a hope of where He is, where she is, we will all be. She's just ahead of us because of what she did in the salvation history. It gave us a hope, a future, something to desire. Are you desiring to be in heaven? Yes or no? Yes. Right now? We will make our way to heaven if we follow also the models, the model of our faith, which is Mary. And so we'll go on further, okay? So, because of that, she was assumed in heaven. And second, she is the Mother of God, the Mother of Jesus. Her body and soul is the same as Jesus's. So, the first fruit, as we have heard in the second reading, the first fruit is Jesus Christ resurrected. And then, of course, closer to Him is His mother. So, logic will say, of course, where He is, she will bring Mary to her. So that's why assume, it's from the Latin word assumere, taken up closer to Him. Okay? He assumed Mary to Him. Okay? Third, she participated in the work of Christ. This is very important. Because of her yes, she is the disciple, apostle par excellence. She allowed herself, that is her greatness, her humility, allowing herself to be in the center of the mystery of the plan of God for the salvation of man. And so that's why logic will say she deserves that, right? But again, this is the munificentissimus Deus, the magnificence of God. And He can do a lot of things because He's gracious, He's boundless, He's generous. But what can we take from this celebration tonight? What made Mary our model? You know, she's one of us, she's human, she's normal. She was also subject to many challenges, temptations of how to live a faithful service to God in the life that she lived. She experienced poverty. She experienced betrayal. She experienced pain. She experienced suffering and even death of Joseph and Jesus and her. But the most important thing is she persevered and she succeeded. Her love of God triumphed over temptations and challenges and her weaknesses. But on point today, in the gospel, we can learn from her how she was able to overcome all these things when she sang the Magnificat to Elizabeth. And if you read the Magnificat, you can see only God, not her, in those statements. The graciousness of God, the goodness of God. And the word magnify means to enlarge, right? We have this instrument in order to see. See, my homily is just like this, but if those who are lovable eyes cannot see this, we need an instrument, and that instrument is what? It's the magnifying glass, right? In order to see better, make it big so that we could read and see things that are small. But you see, sometimes we use the magnifying lens in a wrong way. How? We try to see the faults of others easily, right? Scrutinize them and nail them to their weaknesses and their fault. No, that should not be the use of magnifying glass. We have to have a spiritual magnifying glass. Let us see how Mary used, and let us use Mary as the magnifying glass in our life. See her life, see our life in her, how she followed God in her own way, of how she undergone all those experiences of sufferings, of difficulty, of joy, and all their experiences under the perspective of God's goodness. Hopefully, we could learn something. Because in the first reading, it says that there was a dragon waiting for the baby to be born, and he will eat that baby. It's like our experience when we are so overwhelmed by difficulties in our life. It's easy to be eaten up by problems of difficulty because we magnify problems. We magnify the negativities. It's so easy to see how ugly the world is becoming. But where are you? What is your purpose? How God can use you if you allow yourself to be used by God? To be the love, to be the patience, to be the forgiveness, to be the compassion that the world needs. But we're looking on a different perspective. You can see how messy our life is, but we fail to see where in that messiness of life is God. He's in us. We are created to be an instrument of God's love for others too. And hopefully, if you practice how to see God in your life, you can see others too as in the perspective of God. Hopefully, it will slow you down in criticizing others, because yes, people may done you wrong. That is just one. But the whole person is still good because he's created by a good God. See? Practice to use this spiritual magnifying glass so that you could see in our life and in others the greatness, the goodness of God, if you are up to the challenge. And so that's why, just like Mary, let us say yes to that wonderful experience of God. And that will lead us to our own assumption to heaven. That's what led Mary to be in the presence of God. And that is her role to us, model of faith, of life, and our future in the hands of God. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, let us magnify love, not hate or indifference. Let us magnify the grace of God, not the sin that we have committed. Let us magnify the lessons of life, not the pain, unless it's teaching you a lesson. Let's magnify the solution, not the problem. And the last, let's magnify God, not ourselves. Amen.